In this video, I will give a quick analysis of the dollar, and then I will go over trade ideas for EURUSD and USDCAD. This is the US dollar, and what we are looking at here are time cycles of roughly 2.5 months in blue and longer time cycles of approximately 5 months in pink. We also have shorter cycles of about 2 weeks. As you can see, we have put in an expected trough for the blue 2.5 month cycle, and we are seeing some upside come into the dollar. We do have some overhead resistance potentially from these upper warning lines of longer term median line sets. However, we have broken above this. I'm going to take this off for now. We do still have potentially some overhead resistance from this other longer term median line set. I'll zoom out for a moment to show you. That is from a peak back in March of 2023, the trough of July 14th, 2023, and the high from October 3rd, 2023. We did achieve that median line very nicely, and we bounced strongly from it. Considering that the dollar, while right now it has actually been somewhat positively correlated with the S&P 500, and we can take a look at that. We can put this in a new pane and we can look and see we had negative correlation from the high here. As the S&P started to move up, the dollar moved down, right? The S&P was moving up, the dollar moved down. That would be somewhat expected, as they are usually somewhat inversely correlated. However, from around the end of December, the dollar and the S&P started to show a bit of a positive correlation. I don't expect that to last forever, especially considering I am anticipating some weakness coming into the S&P 500 in the near future. Meanwhile, I would expect the strength of the dollar to continue, and we're seeing that in some specific charts related to the dollar as well, which we'll take a look at now. This is the Euro USD daily chart, and we have roughly 2.5 month long cycles here in blue, shorter cycles in both purple and orange, about a week and about 2 weeks. Not exactly, but roughly. As you can see, this current blue cycle does appear to be a possible extension of this longer term pink cycle, as we are starting to break down. I do believe this trough for this roughly 2 weeks, it's a little longer than 2 weeks, this purple cycle here, does appear to have broken. Additionally, I put on this median line set using these cycles, the prior cycle high, the trough of the first trough of the current blue cycle, and then what I believe may be the high of this cycle, and we get this median line set that you can see we respected over here, and then again, and then once we broke that, what I believe to be the purple cycle trough here, I opened a short. I only put a stop on this for now, as I will let this run based on the time. If around the end of this blue cycle trough we are somewhere close to the median line, I may close it out, but for now I only want the stop, as this could potentially run pretty far down, especially considering the expected weakness upcoming in the S&P 500. The Euro USD at times has a pretty good correlation to the S&P 500. Similar to the dollar, as of lately it has been a bit divergent, but I do expect that to even out and for them to refine their positive correlation. I've zoomed out quite a bit just because I want to show this longer term median line set. I'd have to go to the weekly chart in order to get this origination point all the way back in 2008 on here to show it all together. However, I want to show that this was respected here. We do have a sliding parallel on here, which is just a parallel line to this upper warning line. We did come down and hit the median line perfectly before finding a lot of strength, and we came right back to that sliding parallel. We have retested it again, and then this most recent rejection, if we zoom in, did not make it to the sliding parallel, but it did fail at the upper warning line. And so this is just another reason why I think this current cycle should experience weakness throughout the rest of it. We may start to go sideways, that is possible, before finding some strength and ultimately breaking through it. But at this time, there's really no reason to believe it's not going to hold, considering it has held once, twice, 3 times, and now potentially a 4th time. So considering the dollar's strength, the Euro USD should be pretty good to short, not only based on this entry here, but in the cycles going forward as we move towards the trough expected sometime around mid-April. Additionally, there are other good trade setups for the dollar right now. This is the USD-CAD daily chart, and I know this looks busy, but we have similar cycles of roughly 2.5 months, roughly 5 months, and then some median line sets on here, which are based on a variety of different cycles. Most recently, it appears we have put in the 2-month cycle trough, and we again put in then a 2-week cycle trough, both of which we came pretty close to but didn't quite retest the lower warning line of this longer term median line set. However, we did get near it and we are finding strength, which gives us a good setup as we can enter after returned momentum of a break above a daily high after nearing the lower warning line. And so you'll see I already opened this trade. This particular trade I do have a target on, as we have the median line set here. The USD CAD is actually one of the weaker dollar instruments at the moment. However, it gave a very good setup based on the median line sets. If we look at the USD JPY, we can see this has been quite a bit stronger. I was looking for an entry in here, but on this lower cycle, we did not make a trough near enough to the median line set, and we actually already achieved the target. And I do think this will continue to be stronger than the USD CAD going forward. However, when you don't have a good area to put a stop, it can make it a little difficult to trade. So that is why in this case I went with the USD CAD. The same is true for the USD SHIF. Recently, I actually took the trade at this trough here and I closed it out. Well, I didn't get in until over here, but I closed it out when we hit this upper warning line from the down sloping modified SHIF. I've discussed in several videos how they can provide at least short-term resistance, if not provide a reversal area. It did go sideways. We have broken above it, but the same thing happened here as did the USD JPY. Around this cycle, I was unable to find a good entry, and we are nearing the median line set here, and this definitely does also appear to be stronger than the USD CAD. However, considering the setup, specifically where we can put the stop and where we still have a target that is some distance away, despite the fact that other dollar instruments are stronger, at least for the longer term setups, USD CAD just gave a better clear risk to reward ratio. With that said, I'm not going to get into shorter term opportunities, but going forward, it then becomes ideal to look for shorter term trades using lower time frame cycles like these weekly cycles, for which then it becomes a little better to trade the stronger currency pairs like USD JPY, USD SHIF, and then of course things like Euro USD to the downside. AUD USD also recently gave a very good entry point right off of this warning line here in the downward sloping median line set as we are moving into what should be a trough. This is roughly the same as the Euro USD. However, just comparing lows, you can see the Euro USD, by the time I entered, was already much nearer to this low, which would be the same as this low here. And we've actually already clearly broken below this particular cycle on the Euro USD, where we have not on the AUD USD. That said, just having multiple options to look at, because sometimes the stronger currency pairs, or weaker if you're shorting, will give you good setups. Sometimes they won't. So despite the strength or the weakness, it can still be better at times, in my opinion, to use the weaker currency pairs if they are providing you with a much more clear risk and reward setup. As always, thank you for watching this video, and be sure to subscribe for more.